if everyone's comfortable with it, you want to go around and say who you voted for and why. And I'll start it off. I know that was like a piece of why I voted for Trump. Like, I'm not the type of person that keeps too much up with policy, but like, I listen to a lot of like, either people online, media personalities, mostly like podcasters to be honest, and just like, certain channels and stuff that I respect the opinions of those people because I watch them a lot and I feel like I learn a lot from on a personal level when it comes to like things that I either incorporate into my life or incorporate into my understanding of the world. So it's like more of those people than not also have like more conservative ideologies and are also people that, either openly or subtly like support either just the right in general or are like backing Trump. And then, going to listen to like certain things that Trump has done, I've kind of grown to like one, I appreciate Trump a little bit more because like I said, this first year I actually voted Republican, but it's like, I've actually grown to kind of like the guy in terms of how he presents himself, the things he stands for. And a lot of that is based mostly off of just kind of what I've seen from him, but mostly from the people that, I look at and take a lot of like lessons from also kind of having that same opinion. So I'm like, if I can trust these people, to like have the, effect to where I'm like molding a bits and pieces of my life from what they do, and they trust this guy, then I don't see why I can't trust the guy either. So that's kind of where like my opinion this election came from.
Okay.
Trust. I like that.
I like that. So for me personally, I voted for Donald Trump. Well, I didn't even vote actually, but I chose Donald Trump in my heart. Okay, I chose him. The reason why I would pick Donald Trump over obviously the Democrats is because I just generally have been a conservative and I've had conservative ideals for most of my adult life, pretty much all of my adult life. I don't like, kind of like what I touched on earlier, I don't like the way that Trump is just disingenuously attacked. They manipulate the things he says. It's kind of like an underdog thing. Like with Trump being the underdog, I don't just solely choose him because he is the underdog, but it's because I believe in I believe that there's more to the story than what is represented through media. So if there is ever a swamp, or if there's ever a what else would he call it, like drain the swamp, stuff like that, a deep state,
cesspool.
stuff like that, cesspool, swamp, deep state, then Trump clearly is not part of it. So him being outside of that network of just douchebags, I guess, kind of makes him a ideal candidate for this election, in this moment, in this season, like right now.
Yeah.
Now, would Trump have worked 20 years ago when Bush was running against that other guy, Kennedy or whatever his name was?
Yeah.
Maybe not. But I think in the time that or Al Gore, was it Al Gore and Bush?
Well, that was, I think, the first Bush. There was another guy with like a blockhead that I know you're talking about. Start with a K too. I forget his name.
But yeah, just generally, Trump, he's not the best guy. I don't think he's a Christian. But he's about the closest thing that we got at the moment. I mean, I would have liked Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis would have been cool, but I think the Trump presidency will probably be more.
I think it would be more effective.
Effective. I'm thinking more so like extreme's not the word, or risky's not the word, but it's like the highest risk, highest reward option, basically. Like the country needs to be fixed. I need to pay less fucking taxes. All right, I'm tired of paying so much in taxes. I'm sick of inflation.
Yeah, we'll see.
Someone's got to fix something. Either it's gonna go good or it's gonna go bad. Hopefully, it goes good.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you think, Weezy?
Well, me, I only made my decision based on policy. That's really only what I care about. Politicians, they can say, act whatever way. They'll say whatever they want to, for you to believe what you want to believe. So at the end of the day, policy is everything. And I think Kamala's big things were, $25,000 down payment towards a new house for first-time home buyers. I think that was pretty good. I haven't bought a house yet, so that benefits me. $6,000 child credit is what they're trying to propose or do. I forget how that goes. But having kids one day, I think that would be good too. Kamala was willing to do bipartisan negotiation. Politicians need to work with both sides to get stuff done. So, and that's a pretty important quality. But I don't think Trump is necessarily cares about the other side. I think he really only cares if people are buying into what he really wants. So, Well, no, he said it countless times that he
He
doesn't.
said he's evil.
You can just see what he says. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, and the economy's already good. Inflation's already going down. It's already on track to go down. So, and Democrats, they know what they're doing in terms of
Eating children.
no, like helping out the middle class and boosting the economy. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and I don't think Trump's tariffs will get the job done, or like I don't think he's gonna get rid of income tax. Like it sounds good, but there's like very, very little chance he'll do that. So
Yeah, I don't
That's
know
why
if
I
he'll
can
get
vote
rid of
for
all
him.
that, but I can see him getting rid of like auxiliary taxes, like the ones that are just clear overtax, like tax on overtime, tax on like tips if you work in that type of industry.
yeah, those are all massive things. I mean, those are very big things. So very large. as
Well,
Trump would say.
know,
Those are very large things. So,
yeah, but you get a man that's large and in charge. That's why you put him there.
he's definitely large. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Rosie, what do you think, man?
Man, I didn't vote, but I feel like Trump, his plan will work. I feel like America is better off in Trump's hands than it would be in Kamala's hands, only because I feel like there's somebody behind Kamala that's pulling the strings, and she just like pretty much how everybody felt about every president up to this point. Like every president is just a puppet and it's somebody else that's telling them what to do. But it seems pretty obvious with Kamala over Trump. And I feel like Trump will look out for America in the best possible way. But I also feel that those that are less fortunate might take a hit if some of the things that he's trying to like take away, like or allegedly trying to take away, if they actually do go away, those less fortunate might take a hit. But I feel like I'm hoping that it's like it's like, because it has to get worse before it can get better. They say so. It's like I'm hoping that it's like a greater good behind it. You know what I'm saying? And if those things do get taken away, like those benefits and those like different aids and things, and the less fortunate do take a hit, it's not that bad, and it'll get better before it gets super worse.
Yeah.
This is coming from somebody who don't really know shit about politics, or really, you feel me, do the political
I got a question.
thing.
What if the bad is the less fortunate taking a hit? What if that's the bad that has to happen in order to get to the good?
Well, that's what I think. That's what I think it will be. I think the less fortunate will take a hit. I'm just hoping that the hit is not like the end. You feel me?
It
like,
won't be a knockout.
Right. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad, but hopefully it's just bad for a little while, and then as the economy get better, it's like, okay, yeah, I might not be able to get the aid, but I make more money, or shit is not as expensive. You know what I'm saying? And you feel me? It evens out.
Yeah.
Basically.
I agree with that. I like that.
I like that.
All right.
What about on the couch?
I'll go get over with. All right. I didn't vote, but I chose Trump. And why I chose Trump, honestly, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm just not ready for a woman president.
Feel that.
Probably a good amount.
That's my
Population.
opinion.
I'm glad someone said it.
I'm
I'm glad
standing on
someone
that.
said it.
Standing
I
on
think that's the
that.
main reason she lost. So.
Yeah.
And I do think,
Like, it was sexism.
I do think that's the main reason she lost. I think she was focused on women a little bit too much, and I think a lot of men were sitting there like, okay, you're gonna do this, but what about, if you're gonna do this for women, what about us? I really think men were thinking like that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's it. Yeah, I think she just lost it out with men. She was just too kind of focused on women.
Nice. You know what's kind of funny? I feel like, and obviously I'll let you go. I just wanted to point out, because it's interesting how I think each of us had like a different type of reason for why we voted like the way we voted. But I think it also, each of us covers like the exact type of like subset of voters type,
Yeah,
whether it's someone,
demographic.
yeah, exactly. Like it's like people they listen to support this person, so they do. Someone who's really keened in on politics, someone who's like, just has more, but more of a like. I just don't think. I think this guy looks like more of a leader than she would type. So it's like that's interesting that we all kind of covered that
And she also lost me with the Megan Thee Stallion and the.
in the Taylor Swifts and the
Well, my thing is when you go to Atlanta, you know it's a lot of black people,
mm-hmm.
and you bring out Quavo, you bring out Megan Thee Stallion. To me, that's a slap in the face.
yeah, right.
That's a slap in the face. It's like out of all the things you could have sat here, you could have just talked our ears off.
Yeah.
You know, gave us some what we think would be policies.
Mhm.
No, we're sitting here watching Megan Thee Stallion perform a song based on Korean language.
Yeah. To me, it's like she doesn't, it kind of makes it feel like the Democratic Party in a sense doesn't take black people seriously, because whenever they talk to us, they send a rapper to do it. They send
Right.
Cardi B.
yeah, a
it's
video vixen. I'm
like-
just like, so, I came here, I got a tie on. I'm thinking we're going to talk politics, and here's, Cardi B damn near can't even say a sentence correctly, just telling me
Wait,
like who the hell I should vote for.
Wasn't Megan Thee Stallion
That's funny.
twerking in it was like a suit crop top?
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
like a suit and tie, but it was a crop top.
Mhm.
I don't think she had on booty shorts, but I mean,
No,
And then
it's
even
artistry.
before her, you had Biden. Biden went and sat with a.
So with Cardi that time.
He sat with Cardi, but he
Mhm.
also sat with a black family. It was a
I
dad
remember
and
that shit.
two kids, two sons or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and they ate chicken and
They
chicken.
brought some. He
they-
brought some
He
chicken.
brought
Yeah.
chicken.
That's funny.
I remember that shit.
Yeah.
That's
That was
They
funny
They had a
as
good
hell.
Thanksgiving. They brought chicken. You had Hillary bringing the hot sauce. You had
Yeah.
you had Kamala whipping up collard
like
greens in the
They're
bathtub.
literally telling you what we think
Classic
of you
black
in
dinner.
your face. Like you just gotta pay attention. It's
Yeah.
funny.
I hate to say this, but I didn't vote either.
Okay.
And quite frankly, I didn't really follow any of the campaigns the way I probably should have. I'm with you. I don't really necessarily. I think politicians just will say anything just to get you on board with what they want. But at the same time, I also don't believe that I don't believe that everything that they say is correct, because everything is going to have to go through the House, right? So,
Mhm.
it is, so you can't really take what they say for face value. I do agree that Kamala had a bunch of different things up against her, especially being a woman, but also being black, and nobody wanted to see anybody else black or also a woman in office. So I feel like that's another reason why she did not win. But I have to see how everything plays out with Donald Trump. I can't necessarily say how it's gonna look or not look. And when you say, like, when you go back to it getting bad for the people that are in the lower class, right? What does that bad look like? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, it may be, okay, well, it's just going to get bad for a little while, but okay, but what does that look like, and for how long? And what is that going to do? Because even when you think about SNAP benefits and all that, food stamps, right? Let's go back to the 60s with our parents. That shit was in a book, right? Like, it was almost like they had to give them coupons at the store. It wasn't on a card. So it goes far back as that, when, if I'm just using black people as an example, when we were struggling back then and you needed it, and you really didn't have any say. You couldn't make the money you wanted to. You couldn't get educated the way that you wanted to. So it's just that gets stripped away, and then those people are in that same boat. You get what I mean? I understand the times have changed, but people are still in situations or environments where they can't get the funding or the money that they need. They can't get the education that they need. You strip that away, and then you take away some of their livelihood. What is that gonna do to a child or a single mother that has 3 children? You know what I'm saying? Or a single father that has children that they depend on that. And I'm not talking about the people out here finessing and shit. You know what I'm saying? Getting link cards, but fucking walking around with Gucci bags and shit like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who actually need it. So I feel like that. What type of America will that turn?
I feel like it'll force people to work.
Or go to church.
Some.
You gotta go to work.
It'll force people to work, yes, but do you think that there's going to be a plethora of jobs when that happens? Because if it's going to force you to work, but if there's no work or no jobs, or there's certain qualifications that you need in order to get a job, then what would that look like?
Yeah,
know what I
Well,
mean?
just get
yeah.
filtered.
I mean,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I think probably like personally like one of the biggest issues I think with the black community is that we don't have that many family units. And I think like the reason you have the level of struggling you have where you have single moms or single dads is the fact that one, in our culture, we have a problem with trying to live above our means. And then two, we don't try to build like solid foundations around like a family unit. Cause I mean, in like conception, the government was never meant to like, financially support the people. It was just supposed to like create like a facility or like
system.
Like
a
aid.
system in place in order to make sure that you can thrive while being protected or like not being influenced by outside forces. But at the end of the day, people still have to support, find a way to support themselves.
Mhm.
And I think the reason other cultures have like don't need the level of like financial aid government wise, I mean obviously you're gonna have people in every culture that kind of have that. But I think the reason we have it being such an issue with ours is because we're missing that foundation where like the family unit of having, the dad, the mom, the kids is like essential to making sure that you guys can like, every group can thrive. Because when you start to build, I think in my opinion, when you start to have like those little pieces falling into place, when that foundation's there, you'll realize one, you don't need that much money to really survive well, as long as everyone's contributing, as long as everyone's got a job, everyone's living within their means, and everyone's kind of playing a role. And I think if we can get those pieces like laid down and like straightened out first, we'll realize that like the level of struggling that we face as a culture, a good amount of it is a little bit more self-inflicted than I think we're willing to acknowledge.
And don't be having
Yeah,
babies
but,
you can't take care of.
That's another
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Facts.
Mhm.
A lot of that's a historical problem, though, and
Yeah.
it's extremely difficult to change that. Just like I guess Steven, to use this as example, like Steven
What did I
tries to
do?
like
What
What did
no
I
no
do?
no no
Take
like when you try to convince Alonzo to what's the right word, like
Mhm.
embrace Christian values or embrace Christianity,
Mhm.
like that's not an easy thing to convince Alonzo of. So change is
Yeah, I mean,
not
trying to get someone to do what's best for them isn't really going to always be easy.
Change
but that
is
doesn't mean
not
they
easy.
shouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
like you
but
pull.
change is not.
Here's what I
it's
want
not
to.
easy.
Here's my feedback.
Yeah.
Actually, like Shaitan gave a very articulate point, and my feedback on it is literally like, yes, people that are at the bottom rung of society will probably suffer from them doing like the welfare rug pull, basically. Take the welfare out, let everyone fall to the bottom, see who survives, and then pick up whoever won. You know what I'm saying? It's like a Hunger Games thing. almost.
And I understand that too, but when you go back to like, okay, how you said, right, about them, that foundation being built within the community, like the family aspect of the black people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how is that going to be fixed when primarily black families live in low income areas, right, where there's a liquor store on every corner, right? It's like
Mhm.
you get what I mean, or where I'm going, like it's designed to
The
keep
foundation
us.
is
Yeah,
Right,
it's
yeah.
designed to keep those families. I'm not even doesn't even have to be black. It could be if you're in a situation where you could be black, Indian,
Latino.
Latino, whatever, right? Like you're in those areas and they're designed to keep you in this
It's lower state.
impoverished mindset, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then you so it's just like how do you get yourself out of that? And then it's like, okay, they strip that away, there's a liquor store. Wouldn't that make it give them more fuel to want to go out and drink, smoke, do drugs? Like even
But they
when
don't
you-
have any money.
well, yes, but I mean they may have a little bit of money. They
Yeah,
don't know
they
how
got paid
to
recently.
they don't
Right. So the people that have that little bit of money, the ones that go
Mhm.
buy a book versus the ones that go buy a beer, the ones that buy the book are going to win.
Right.
The ones that don't buy the book are they're going to get fucked, which is like unfortunately reality. You know, you
Yeah.
can't have the government pulling you up. Like basically it's just too comfortable to be impoverished in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you can live in poverty and be comfortable as hell right now. To an extent, some people are suffering immensely, but I think that there are a lot of alternatives to living a horrible life in the hood, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, then look at it in this way, right? Like I was talking to somebody who grew up in the hood, right? And I was talking to them about getting out of the hood, coming to the suburbs and living this type of life that we all live right now. We don't live in the hood. We live in the suburbs technically, right? He was saying that it's not that cut and dry. He was like, if you have, for example, like one rival gang on one side of the street, one on the other, you try to cross, or a little boy that's 10, 7, 8, 9 years old, he's trying to get to the library, but he can't because there's some type of gang war going on to where he can get, you know what I'm saying? He could get hurt or he could get shot, or him just trying to simply go to the library and it's on the opposite side of the street, but it's in an area that is rival to
In those
where
type of
he's at, you know what
areas,
I'm saying?
though, in those type of areas, how do you think those gang members are able to live there?
What do you mean?
What do you think
They
those
not-
gang members are receiving? in
They're not
order-
stacked up 5 to a household with 6 link cards. No,
They-
it's
Yeah, they
Two-
selling
they get-
drugs.
they get Section 8 and they get Link.
Exactly.
And then another
yeah,
thing with that too is like, I get it's hard to course correct, but you always kind of gotta start somewhere. Like to address the analogy you gave, it's like, yeah, I get. One thing is like the community. I think in a lot of these places has the ability to stop, a lot of the crap that happens, but not enough people care to do so, and a lot of people are in that mindset to where they're waiting for someone else to step in when a lot of them have the power to step in themselves. It's like, I have this kid that, it's like, oh, I want him to be able to walk to school, but, the gang around the, in the neighborhood, like, occupies there, and he might be in trouble. The same people that'll be like, we need to, I want my kids to be able to walk to school and not get, caught up in gang violence, will also be the relatives of the people in that gang. And they're not stepping up and telling them, like, yo, you need to get the fuck off the streets, or, hey, as a community, we all know the people who make up the people that are causing the problem. Why don't we each make it incumbent upon ourselves to address the person we know that is making life harder for everyone else in the community? If we, it's like we're just waiting for either cops to do something or the teachers to do something when, the badass kids in school are our children.
They even got a movie about it
You
called
know?
Friday.
Exactly.
Well, like you said, mindset matters. Think of it like as a depression, right? When some people are depressed, it takes some people, probably a good amount of people, it takes them a good amount of time to get out of that depression. You don't just magically say, snap my fingers. I have a different mindset now.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hop out of this depression by myself. I'm going to do it myself, and no one's going to help me.
But see,
Very few people can do that. Most people just, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Depression has to run its course. It takes time to become cure or become better.
But you know what speeds up depression?
What,
Suffering.
togetherness, family.
Suffering. You can be depressed without suffering, really.
What?
Yeah.
Right? If you've ever been to a third world country, you'll see that a lot of people are impoverished, but they're not suffering. Right? There's a huge difference between being impoverished and suffering. In these inner city areas, they're impoverished, but they're not suffering. So there's no impetus to change anything. You just keep doing
I
the same
agree.
cycle of nonsense because
agree,
there's
yeah.
nothing pushing you to stop doing it.
Yeah, that kind of.
If you
furthers
pull
my
out
point.
all the social support systems, not all of them, right?
Yeah.
Medicaid should stay, right? You should be able to get health care, but should you be able to get groceries? I don't think so, personally. I don't think you should be able to get free groceries because someone had to grow those groceries. I mean, you can go to a church and go to a food pantry. All those things are fine. But a $300 card that you can use to buy food at Jewel Osco, hell no. That doesn't even make sense.
I think of like a lot of the social programs that I think is what staggers a lot of poor communities. I think of them as like a mobility scooter at Walmart because because it's like I can get to the store and I can clearly walk, but let's say I'm obese, I'm gonna grab that scooter because it's available to me. And even though I know, like, man, if I probably just actually just, because I'm like, oh, because walking hurts, it makes my bunions ache. So I'm just gonna use this scooter to get around and get my food. But it's like, if that's always available to me, it's gonna be way harder the more I use that scooter to get out of the mindset to be like, maybe I should just
Push
maybe
a
I
cart
should-
today.
Yeah, maybe I'll just push a cart today. So you know what's probably gonna get me to just do that? It's gonna hurt like hell at first because I spent the last 3 years of my life on this fucking scooter. That it's gonna seem like an extremely foreign thing for me to finally just be like, you know what? Let me, let me use this cart, get my food, go home, rub my bunions, and feel sad about it later. But tomorrow, if I keep doing that, guess what? I'm gonna, I'm gonna condition that muscle that says, even though it hurts, I should do this because if I keep doing this, I'm probably going to lose weight. I'm probably going to exercise that part of my body that aches every time to mean the next time I do it, it's going to be a little less painful. And before you knew it, it's like a problem that solves itself. Now that I'm moving more and doing things more autonomously, I don't need these social those extra conveniences that, made me fat. Now I'm not fat, so I think it's like, that's why getting rid of those social programs or anything that is making people in a mindset to be complacent, it only reinforces it so you never leave that. But I think if you start kind of pulling, taking the training wheels off and allowing people to fall down a few times, eventually they're going to learn to ride on their own. And I think that's kind of what you need with that, because otherwise, like Leezy said, it's hard to break that mindset, but it becomes damn near impossible to do it when everything around you it's basically influencing you to stay in that mindset, to never give up the scooter.
Yeah, I mean, I guess going with that is you having money is a good thing, but it's the way you mentally think about the money and spend the money that's the most important thing. So the money it's a thing, but it's like obviously the mental mindset is ultimately what's going to get the job done.
One thing that
So
I
getting
tell
the money isn't too bad.
whenever
what
I'm
saying.
like sort of in like my mentorship mode and I'm teaching people things, I always tell them what hurts the most, one of the most painful feelings is suffering, knowing that you had the resources you needed to not suffer and you wasted them. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have money and you spend it on drugs, for example, or you spend it on some bullshit that you didn't need, and then, okay, now you got kicked out the house. Now you got to be homeless, right? You're going to lay on that sidewalk like, oh, shit, I'm fucked up right now because I had the money to pay my rent and I didn't. And you're going to feel so much worse than if your house burned down. You know what I'm saying? Like if your house burned down and now you got nowhere to stay, that's fucked up. But like if you knew you could have paid your rent and you didn't, and now you're homeless, you're going to go out living your life knowing that you did that shit, and it's going to change you slowly into not ever doing that shit again. That's what I'm saying. So it's basically the same concept.
Yeah, suffering is definitely the best way.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously,
Getting as close to death as possible.
hey,
If
that's
you want
the
to change,
Steve. That's the
deep,
Steve
that's
Strat.
the way to get there.
Yeah, that's the Steve Strat. Big League Strat. All right, let's close this episode out, man. Anyone else got something to say? Something to say? Man?
Yeah, just remember, even Jesus had to suffer to get to heaven.
Well, okay.
Stuff like that, yeah.
That's not.
He said, well,
That's like what?
Wait. I'm sorry, you didn't see the man get fucking crucified?
but he didn't do it to go to heaven.
Hey, and he just opened up the.
He suffered so you could go to heaven.
Oh, let's see, even better.
I would even go as far as to
Suffer
say if
community.
he didn't suffer. But that's a different topic.
He enjoyed it.
Let's do an episode on that. Anyway, thanks for watching this episode of the Cold Podcast, guys. You can find us on all social media platforms at The Cold Podcast. We're also on all audio, video platforms, Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. $5 a month on Patreon gets you access to the My Black Friends podcast. 80 episodes of hilarity. Thanks for popping in, and we got to pop at it.
All right, peace.